Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Thursday, November the 21st. Starting at the top of the board, that's how this works with Freddie Andersen. So this was kind of telegraphed by Rod Brindamore saying that there might be surgery involved for Freddie Andersen, and it has taken place. He's had knee surgery. He is out for 8 to 12 weeks. Apparently, it's not major knee surgery, but it was necessary for him to come back and be able to play. So he will be out for the next 8 to 12 weeks. It will be interesting to see if the Carolina Hurricanes are fine with Kochetkov and Spencer Martin, or if they look for other goaltending help. The goaltending market in the NHL has been interesting so far this year. It will be. I will be curious to see if Carolina does pursue another goaltender, or if they figure they're okay for a couple of months without Freddie Andersen. But for people who will make that statement about Freddie Andersen that he's injured all the time, this news definitely aids their claim on that. Matthew Nyes is being evaluated. He feels okay, and there's a lot of divide about the hit last night thrown by White Cloud and if it's legal, should it be legal? Was it legal? Should it have been a penalty? Again, it would seem that this is one of those things that's just going to divide the hockey community. And the coach himself, Craig Berube, said after, "Yeah, no, it's a fine. It's a hit. It's a clean hit. It's been a part of hockey forever." But that's where the discussion comes out of. So these head hits, and it was ugly. I'm glad Nyes feels okay. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play in their next game, but for Toronto, who are already dealing with a lot of injuries, they don't need to lose Nyes on top of it. Thatcher Demko, speaking of injury news, says he's progressing, feels the best he's felt in months. The problem is there's no timeline placed on when he's going to return. And that's something that we as Canuck fans have been dealing with for a long time now. So we are dealing with, Lankinen and Shelovs as the goaltending tandem. They're doing their absolute best, but we know that with Demko back, that would boost the team's chances of A, making the playoffs, and B, being able to go somewhere should they make the playoffs. Lekaramaki has been sent down to the AHL. Max Sassen's been recalled. This is the apparently ninth player that's been called up by the Canucks already from the AHL this year. So we are seeing a lot of turnover in their lineup. I guess Lekaramaki, they decided his shot's ready. He needs to work on other parts of his game. Sassen called up. Doesn't have the offensive side of his game that Lekaramaki has, but he's a good player as well, so we'll see whether or not he slots into the lineup for their next game. Drake Caggiula's been recalled by the Edmonton Oilers. They're, of course, without Arvidsson. Hyman exited last night's game as well, so this could be telling us that Hyman might miss their next game. For the Oilers, of course, Caggiula's a player that has played for the Oilers prior this season and prior to this season as well, and everybody's familiar with what Drake Caggiula brings to the rink. Georgiev's been activated by the Colorado Avalanche, so they get back to having their tandem ready of Annunen and Georgiev. Tynan's been sent down to the AHL by Colorado today, but having Georgiev back means that, Colorado's injury list is shrinking. I don't mean to alarm Avs fans, because, of course, when it's shrinking, your next expectation would be, so who's going to get hurt next? That just seems to be the way of things with the Colorado Avalanche. Hopefully, nobody. Hopefully, that's the end of the injuries, at least for a while. Getting Georgiev back, though, should absolutely help. Before the injury, he was starting to trend in the right direction, so hopefully he can continue that trend. Speaking of goaltenders, Askarov is going to make his debut at the San Jose Sharks tonight. He will start against the St. Louis Blues. Askarov, very good numbers in the AHL, and really in general, his numbers when he was in the Nashville organization were quite good as well. So it's kind of an exciting time for Sharks fans. And if Vanecek's out for any period of time, maybe this won't be the only game Askarov starts. If he plays really well, does that put some pressure then on Mike Grier to maybe make a change? Maybe if Askarov looks like he's ready, maybe you put Vanecek on the trade block. Considering, as I've mentioned already in this video, there are definitely teams that are dealing with kind of a thin spot in net and might not mind adding a player. Maybe Vanecek would have a little bit of value right now that he might not have had before the season got started. It will be interesting to see how San Jose does. And generally, San Jose's been playing really well. Even in that game last night against Dallas, there was a moment there where I thought, they could come back and tie this. But then the empty netters were put in by Dallas, and that takes the tension out of that game. Philip Hedl, skating with the extras today for the New York Rangers, not skating with the main roster. So he's unlikely to play tonight against the Flames. Very likely out tonight against the Flames. Until it's confirmed by the team, you have to kind of, hedge a little bit, but it definitely looks like Hedl won't be playing for the Rangers tonight. The Rangers have an excellent road record. They also have really strong depth. I think for Hedl, he can take his time coming back, and I think they'll take their time with him because of the nature of the injury. Even though there's no concussion involved, there's no reason to rush the guy back for a game in November against a non-divisional rival on the road. It's not a big deal. He can skate. He can get himself back up to speed. Connor Ingram, dealing with an upper body injury. Now, it's listed as day-to-day, but since he won't play on their upcoming road trip, that's at least a week. So for Ingram, he's had an up and down season thus far. The goaltending for Utah has not been fantastic. Overall has not been fantastic. There have been the occasional games for goaltenders, mostly Vejmelka having those starts, but for Utah now it's a matter of they've called up Jackson Stauber, and the goaltending has become a point of concern for the Utah Hockey Club at this point. And this is where I can point back to San Jose, and if Vanacek became available, maybe Utah might be a team that's willing to at least look at it. Again, Ingram, Vejmelka, that's a good tandem when they're going. Lately, it has not been a great story for Utah when it comes to the goaltending. So we'll see if they decide to make some kind of change at some point soon. Bernard Docker's returning to the lineup tonight for the Ottawa Senators. That means Hamonic is set to be a healthy scratch for them tonight. Ottawa fans should be excited to have Bernard Docker back. And it's interesting because he did clear waivers last season. And now this season it looks like he's not necessarily taken that next step, but he looks like he can be a regular defenseman for Ottawa. And those guys are valuable. So it's a good thing he cleared waivers when he did. And at this point in time, Ottawa's blue line, I think, is better than what the record would show. I talked about it in the Ottawa video yesterday, how the numbers are better than last year. The results should start trending in the right direction if they can keep those numbers up. The tricky part is keeping those numbers up when the results don't show that you're getting a reward for it. So players will sometimes get frustrated, the losses are piling up, and they can get into some bad habits. That's what the Ottawa Senators have to guard against. And so getting Bernard Docker back in the lineup, we'll see how their blue line shakes out. Kent Johnson, who has missed most of the season so far, I believe he's just played the 4 games, he returns tonight against Tampa. Columbus should be quite happy to have Kent Johnson back. At the time of the injury, it looked like he was going to have that breakthrough season. So maybe coming back into the lineup, he will continue on that path to having a really strong season. I have my fingers crossed for Kent Johnson. I like the player, even though he had a down year last year. I think there's a good player there. And so, again, fingers crossed for Kent Johnson and for the Blue Jackets that they have a good game against Tampa. I don't know if they can win against Tampa, but at least, make them work for it. There you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, as always. I will talk to you again soon.